Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I'm Ryan Bolden. Thank you all for joining me. So, comedian Katt Williams is at it again. This should be no surprise to any of us who have listened to the podcast that he gave a while back, a few days ago, actually. And he did some real revelatory stuff, okay? This should be no shock to us, but I'm going to read you guys the transcript in this article that I'm about to read right now of some of the things that he said. I'm going to get right into my commentary of what I believe that is true. I think a lot of what he is saying is true. And I think there's a lot of nasty stuff going on in Hollywood. And I've been believing that for quite some time. So let's get right into this article. People can say what they want to say about Katt Williams. They can criticize him, say he's jealous, he's this, he's that. But at the end of the day, is it true? You can argue that. But anyway, the article starts off, comedian Katt Williams launched into a conspiracy tirade on the Club Shay Shay podcast, wherein he claimed that 2024 would be the year that Hollywood's big DICK deviants gets exposed. Katt Williams says these words, race is not where the line is drawn, he said. And I did hear some, like I said, I did hear some of this podcast. I heard a significant amount of this podcast on a reposted video a few days ago, and it's some heavy stuff. I like Katt. Like I said, I like Katt Williams. He's very articulate in explaining and opening up things that you'd be like, oh my God, that's pretty heavy, bro. He goes on to say, it's God's side and the other side, and we don't care nothing about the other side, period. All of these big DICK deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. These are some heavy words he's saying here. And these are actually the words he actually said. I remember him saying them. He says, it don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light, he added. Katt Williams likely was referring to the recent lawsuits filed against Diddy, claiming sexual assault. He also said that he was canceled for speaking out against accused pedophile Michael Jackson and convicted sex offender R. Kelly. R. Kelly, I believe he was, but the situation with Michael Jackson, I believe that was false. No one has been able to prove that, but even at that, people could argue, well, yeah, he had a lot of money, he paid people off and stuff like that, but that don't necessarily mean that it was true. Michael Jackson, you could say he was a very sensitive person and probably wouldn't want that kind of pressure on him. I personally believe that Michael Jackson was not guilty of any pedophilic ways. I don't believe that that's the truth, but that's another story. So anyway, people say, well, you like Michael Jackson as an artist. Yes, I do. I really like Michael Jackson. But that ain't the reason why I believe he's not guilty, okay? Anyway, because in 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets, Williams said. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing, somebody come to tell me. I gather that. I value that. I'll pay for that. Come tell me. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. You don't make me the villain. Let me read it again. You don't make me the villain, not the guy that raises black children and ain't never done a hard drug in his life and don't have no stories of doing nobody dirty, and they'll just go out and lie. The industry doesn't mess with Katt because he didn't show up for the studio. No studios have ever said that, he continued. Heavy stuff, right? Williams then singled out comedian Kevin Hart and rapper Chris Ludacris Bridges for scalding, referring to Hart as a studio plant that earned nothing. He also claimed that Ludacris had made deals with the Illuminati. He already had his deals when he got here. Now, this is what Katt Williams is saying. He says, he already had his deals when he got here, referring to Kevin Hart. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA, and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person, Williams said. What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definition of these words. I mean, you could argue that, okay, well, we didn't hear about him because he was on platforms that didn't expose him to as many people. You get exposed to more people as you grow and develop your skills and talent. You get exposed to more. You get placed on bigger platforms that expose you to a wider market of people. So it could be argued that that's the reason why people didn't hear about Kevin Hart. It's because he just wasn't known then. He was working himself up. So that doesn't necessarily mean he's a plant. Doesn't even necessarily he's a plant that the Illuminati planted him there. Is it possible? Yes. But, nobody can really argue that. No one can really prove that per se. Let me put it. No one can really prove that. Okay. But I'm going to give you what I think the situation is, whether he was actually planted there or not. I'm going to give you my opinion as when I complete this. But he says, he goes on to say, Satan can't create anything. He's right about that. Katt Williams is right about that. That includes blessing for his people. That's why, what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is to act like it didn't happen, he said. Hart and Ludacris dismissed the attacks on social media. And this is what Kevin Hart said, apparently on X, formerly known as Twitter. He says, got to get that anger out you, champ. It's honestly sad. In the meantime, please enjoy my movie trailer to my next film, Lift, which will be dropping on Netflix in 8 days. Okay. So that's about it right there. And then there's another clip of Ludacris saying some things, but you can listen to that in the description box below if you decide to go to the description box and type in the title of the article in Breitbart News and listen to it for yourself. So that's the deal right there. Kevin Hart has always been kind of controversial when it comes to revealing the inner dark secrets of Hollywood celebrities. Now people can argue, well, he's just jealous of people like Kevin Hart and Ludacris and all these other celebrities. It's possible. But then you could argue that there are a lot of celebrities or would-be celebrities or people who want to be popular that don't have that kind of popularity that Kevin Hart has, that Ludacris has, that others have, that you could argue, well, how come they're not trying to belittle and put down these big-time celebrities? If they were, shouldn't they be jealous too? Let's face it. Katt has more clout than they do. You probably never heard of these guys. You don't hear them complaining, so that could be argued. But here's my thing on the whole situation. I wasn't there with P. Diddy. I wasn't there. I wasn't there with Kevin Hart. I wasn't there with Ludacris. I don't know whether or not he signed a deal with the Illuminati. I mean, when people talk about the Illuminati, they use that word flippantly, but to be honest with you, most people don't even know what the Illuminati is. Everything that seems to be weird and strange, people will stamp the title of the Illuminati on it. That's the Illuminati. That's the Illuminati. That's the Illuminati. What I always tend to ask is, what is the Illuminati, or rather, where did it come from? What proof do you have that it actually exists today? Because the Illuminati at one point did exist. It was a secret society that was created back in 1776, ironically, which is the same year that America was founded, but that's another story, and I digress. And it was created by a man by the name of Adam Weishaupt, who was a professor of Canaan law, a German professor of Canaan law. And researchers state that he was commissioned by the Rothschild dynasty to create an occult, esoteric society that would combine the sciences and the concepts of other secret societies, such as the Masons and others, and combine their particular belief systems and ideologies into one. Hence the term Illuminati, because the Illuminati comes from the word to illumine, which means enlighten, okay, to bring light to. But it was an actual secret society created in 1776 by a professor of canon law who was deeply involved in the occult or was fascinated by the dark arts. Whether or not it exists today is another story. Now, according to some researchers, state that Adam Weishaupt, before he was went underground, so to speak, and before his mission to destroy all religion and destroy all centralized government and so forth actually took off, he infiltrated many of the Masonic lodges in Europe and in America. Okay, I'm going to go into all the details of that. Just giving you a little bit of history here. And these Masonic lodges adopted the ways of the Illuminati, which was a one world government, one world economic system, one world religion. Part of the goals of the Illuminati was to destroy the family, destroy Christianity and all forms of religion, or Christianity in particular, destroy nationalism and patriotism, one's love for the country, destroy centralized government and merge into one. Let's give you some of the elements, okay? These were some of the elements. And so these Masonic lodges, not all of them, but many of these American and European Masonic lodges adopted the ways of the Illuminati, and they became a secret society within a secret society. These particular group of members within the Masons became known as Illuminated Masons. They were the highest form of Masons because they actually worshiped Lucifer, whom they believe is the true God. Now you said, what's that got to do with anything? Well, because people throw, like I said, people throw this Illuminati stuff around all the time and know little of anything about it. Do they still exist today? In my opinion, I believe that they do, but they do in different ways. The ancient concepts do not exist, but I believe that they have infiltrated many Masonic lodges that believe and embrace that worldview that came from Adam Weishaupt when he infiltrated many of the lodges a long time ago, okay? When the Illuminati infiltrated these lodges with their worldviews. But no one knows, we can't say, okay, Kevin Hart, or Ludacris made a deal with the Illuminati. No one really knows, okay? No one really knows. What I will say is this. I do believe that the whole idea of having men, black and white, dress as women is a plan. I believe that whether you want to call it an Illuminati plan or what, but I believe it is a plan. It has nothing to do with being funny. Because a lot of these, particularly especially when it comes to many of these black artists, you see a lot of these black artists dressing up as women, and it ain't funny. They're ugly. They're ugly. They're ugly. I remember when Robin Williams dressed up as an old woman. It was Upajaya, Doubtfire that came out in the 90s. Excellent movie, very funny, okay? That was very funny, but some of the black artists that dress up as women are not funny. Now, Tyler Perry with Madeira, he's hilarious, okay? But people argue that, well, that was all about feminizing the black male. You could argue that, but then what about white males that dress up as women? There's quite a few white males that have dressed up as women as well, So I don't, however way you want to argue. But here's the deal. This is what I believe. Whether it's from the Illuminati or not, I believe that it is planned to have men dress up as women in these movies in order to feminize men that watch these movies, to cause them on a subconscious level to no longer want to be with women. Why? Because the elites want to control the population. If men want to be with other men and women want to be with other women, then they're not going to want to be with the opposite sex. And if they're not going to want to be with the opposite sex, they're not going to have sex. And if they don't have sex, they're not going to have what? Babies. If they don't have babies, that will keep the population down. One of the goals of the Illuminati is population control. So could it be that? One could argue that. In my personal opinion, I think it is. So a lot of the stuff that Katt Williams is talking about, I agree with. People can argue all day, well, he's just jealous of the popularity of like I said, all these other celebrities. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. But then you could also say this. I have heard from different videos, how accurate these videos are, I can't say. But I'm just telling you what I've heard by listening to other videos and other podcasts, is that when you want to reach a certain level in Hollywood, okay, if you want to be this big superstar, and I'm going to introduce you guys to several books that I suggest you guys might want to read if you like to, that talks about this stuff in detail. That if you want to reach a certain level in Hollywood, like really, really up at the top where you're making tons of money, you're going to have to do things that you wouldn't normally want to do. And I'm not talking about just being in roles that you don't like. I'm talking about secret, satanic, demonic stuff. Because I personally believing in the supernatural, that Satan is real. The fallen angel Lucifer is real. And the Bible says in the New Testament book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4 that he is the God, lowercase g, of the world. Satan rules this world, and he rules the institutions, and he rules the governments, and he rules the industries. And he certainly rules Hollywood, in my opinion. So that being the case, things are going to be seen through his worldview. He controls all of that. So it would make sense to have people in these movies and musicians, have people in these movies dressing up like men in these movies, dressing up like women all the time for no real reason. What's the real reason behind it? Have musicians doing satanic rituals on the stage. Really? To be creative? You can be creative without doing a satanic ritual on the stage. I said that in the previous video, but I want to bring it up here for emphasis. You can do that without you don't have to do that to be creative. There's different ways of being creative. You don't have to have inverted crosses on the stage. What's the point in that? Other than that's to blaspheme. There has to be something more darker going on here than Katt Williams being jealous. Okay? Or trying to get clout. I think it's deeper than that. And another thing too, before I introduce you guys to these books, people like Kevin Hart and Ludacris and others, let's assume that they did make a deal with the Illuminati. And then they hear Katt Williams saying these things and accusing them of making these deals and dressing as women and all this kind of stuff and for money, whatever. Let's assume that's the case. Their response, more than likely, is not going to be, "Oh man, you're going to ruin my career. They ain't going to say that." I just read to you a response by Kevin Hart, which was, "You got to get that anger out of you, huh, man? Oh well, anyway, my trailer's about to drop, and Let's assume he did. Let's assume Kevin Hart did make a deal with the Illuminati, right? All the money he's getting from the Illuminati, he's not going to be like, "Man, you ruined him," because money is his God. Since Satan blessed him with all that money, he's not going to be like, "Man, Katt, you hurt me, man. You hurt my reputation, man. You ruining my career." He knows that's not going to ruin his career. Because if this is true, then the people that watch the movies are under a spell. That watch his movies are under a spell, and he knows that. He could literally have horns sticking up out of his head, literally. And I'm not talking about with no costume, like literally horns sticking up out of his head, so to speak. He could literally be doing satanic rituals in his movies, and people will still just go see him. He did a satanic ritual in the movie. But it was funny. It was good because they're under a spell. You're under a spell. You're under a spell. You do. I will do what you can't decipher. You've been hoodwinked. You've been bamboozled, led astray. Satan has his. You become his puppet. A spell has been cast on. In that sense, whatever, right? So people can argue this all day with Katt Williams. Look, man, at the end of the day, something funky is going on in Hollywood, and whether Katt, I keep saying Katt because it's started with a K, whether Katt is telling the truth or not won't even matter because he can stay silent. If something funky is going on in Hollywood, it's going to come to the rooftop. So I just wanted to say this, introduce this to you guys before I close. That may take you a little bit deeper into this. Some of you guys may have heard of this man. His name is Isaac Weishaupt, which is interesting, right? Because he actually named himself, gave his last name Weishaupt as a reference to Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati. But there's reasons for that, because I ain't going to go into the detail here because of time. But I just want to introduce you to several of his books. I just started reading up on him. I didn't know anything about it. I never heard of him. I just happened to go on Amazon and I saw this book and I said, let me check this out. Here's one here. Alice in Rocky Horrorland. He reveals the deep secret occult meanings of and symbolism in the movie, I believe, came out. The Star Wars Conspiracy, hidden occult and Illuminati symbolism of aliens in the New Age. Yeah, he talks about these. He really breaks this stuff down. It's just a jump to the left. This is the unauthorized guide to occult symbolism in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That was a kind of like a musical that came out in the mid to late 70s. Yeah, he really breaks that down. And here's the one that this is my first purchase from him. It's what I found on Amazon. And that's when I started buying his books. It's like Sacrifice, Magic Behind the Mic. And here he goes into, it was written in 2016. Here he goes into deep detail about the occult concepts and the occult belief systems that are practiced in the music industry and how that the music itself, the actual vibrations and words of the songs are actually designed to change the behavior of the people for the worse. He goes into detail of that. Now, if you guys never heard of him, I highly suggest you buy his books or check his books out, somewhere else. Maybe try to get it at the library without him. But I like a lot of his material. I don't agree with everything he says, but I agree with a significant amount of what he says because I cross-reference it with other books that I own. And it seems to be true. And I see a lot of stuff going on. So, there has to be truth there. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say there. What do you guys think about Katt Williams? You think he's just jealous of these celebrities? Or do you really believe that he's telling the truth? I personally believe he's telling the truth and that he's not jealous. He's not jealous. He's just telling the truth. So in my opinion, but what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all and see you again.